Hi boys and girls. Today in lesson 4 we're going to talk about estimating and measuring weight. This might be a little tricky. I don't know about you, but I don't have a super accurate scale at home, especially not for measuring smaller things. And the scales we would normally use are at school. So we're going to get a little creative. And for this lesson, we're going to talk about the importance of estimating and being able to sort of look at something and guesstimate approximately what weight it is. And we're also going to talk a little bit about converting pounds and ounces. So the first thing, the units of measuring weight that we're going to use are ounces and pounds. A pound is equal to 16 ounces. So if I have 1 pound, that pound will be equal to 16 ounces. So a pound is something that you would use for a larger object. Think about how you would apply that. Would you measure an elephant in pounds or in ounces? Well, if you measured it in ounces, you'd probably end up with a lot of ounces. Probably the best way to go would be to measure it in pounds. What about an apple? Would that be more appropriate to be measured in pounds or in ounces? An apple, being considerably smaller than an elephant, would probably be best measured in ounces. If you measured it in pounds, you might end up with a fraction of a pound or a decimal. It's not going to be as clean of a number to work with. So you'll go ahead and use ounces. What about a person? Do you remember your parents telling you how much you weighed when you were born? You were probably something like 8, 9, 10, maybe 10 pounds and something ounces. So that's an example of where you'll hear both of those units used in one place. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice some conversions. You can find this in your workbook, or you can find this, or you can just make this table yourself if you don't have your workbook handy. And we're just going to compare ounces and pounds. So if I have 1 pound, it's going to be equal to how many ounces? It's going to be equal to 16 ounces, just like our conversion that we just did in our notes. If I have 2 pounds, that would be 2 times 16. So maybe you can do that in your head, or maybe you need to work it out. Let's go ahead and work it out since we're here. I'm going to go 16 times 2 6 times 2 is, good, 12. Bring up the 1. 1 times 2 is 2, plus that 1 is 32. Nailed it. All right, 2 pounds is equal to 32 ounces. Oh, that is not very pretty too. What about 3 pounds? Well, let's work it out again. 3 pounds, I need to multiply that 3 times 16. So 16 times 3 . 6 times 3 is 18. Good. 8 down here, let's bring up our little 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus that extra 1, 4. So I end up with 48. Good. Nice. And what about 4 pounds? Are you sort of starting to get a sense of the pattern that we're working with? So each one is 16 greater. Let's go ahead and find out how many ounces are in 4 pounds. We're going to go 16 times 4 . 6 times 4 is 24. Bring up that 2. Nice. 4 times 1 is 4, plus that 2 is So your answer is 64. I'll move my face to the side. There we go. Good work so far. Okay, let's go back to our notes. So now in the book, they ask you to estimate the weights of different objects and then weigh them. So what you could do if you don't have a scale handy is you could kind of take something that you know is a pound. You could take like a pound of butter if you have that handy, and you could compare it to other objects. If you take your pound of butter and I compare it to my stapler, I can feel that my pound of butter is going to be heavier than my stapler. And that's going to help me estimate the weight of the stapler. And then I can go ahead and determine, well, is the stapler about half the weight of this butter? Is it a third of the weight? That will help me calculate how many ounces I think represent the stapler according to the butter. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so find a benchmark weight of something anywhere in your home. You could use some exercise weights. You could use food because it usually has the measurements or the weights written on the food product. Use a benchmark measurement and then compare that to other things in your household, and that will help you estimate and measure weight. And don't worry about the exact calculations of the things that you weigh right now. Right now, I just want to see if you can estimate and sort of gain a feel of different objects in your home. If you have questions, let me know. And the last thing I want you to think about is, what is the importance of being able to estimate weight in the first place? Like, why are we doing this? I want you to think of different jobs or different scenarios or maybe different experiences you've had where being able to estimate weight has really come in handy. Go ahead and share your responses in an email or chat with a sibling or a parent or a friend. And try to think of how you would use this situation in real life. All right, see you later.